Guinness also has like peppermint Guinness, and there's a big plant or a big Guinness, I guess where they brew for the U.S. is in Baltimore. And you can go down and do the thing. My son took the tour in Ireland.
Oh, that's cool.
And put a bunch of pictures up today, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. So the Buffalo Bills paid $45 million, Foodie, guaranteed at signing in March 22nd of this year to one Von Miller. And at one point this season, I thought,
that's the fuck me rich.
That's the fuck you rich.
Fuck you. Is that what it is? Fuck you?
I don't know, because I would think, I think billionaire, you got to be fuck me rich. Like that's where it's like, I don't care if I lose.
That's just...
you know what I mean?
Yeah, Von Miller's still got to live after football.
Yeah.
Well, not if he invests his money, right?
It's fuck you rich. It's like, if I wreck my Ferrari, fuck you, I'll buy another one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Or you got something good, I'm going to get something better. Like, that's it.
But I'll say that contract is it's a bargain. Like $45 million for 3 years, all day.
Well, when you're looking at other numbers and other people that have signed even today in different sports, we'll get to that. But I wasn't sure at first, because you're talking, I think he's 33 years old.
He's not young.
He's not young. He's been around a little bit. But then I go, hey, this guy had 6 sacks through the first 4 games and 2 against Kansas City. And when we go back now, you look at those 13 seconds and you wish he was on the field.
Right.
You go, that's it. It's come down. But this is part of the game, is injury, and he is out for the rest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually.
Yeah. Everybody's air has been let out in Buffalo, because as soon as Von Miller went on the bench, you're like, oh, come on, man.
Well, then he was talking on Twitter and on his podcast saying that he was going to be back, and he thought maybe by this weekend, because they had 10 days from the Thursday night game until this Sunday's game against the Jets, which I thought they were trying to flex to a Monday night game, and I think CBS balked at it.
They did. They were trying to flex it to Sunday.
Oh, to Sunday?
So they balked. They took Miami, I think, instead.
Yeah. So he had ACL surgery, and according to Sean McDermott, announced that on Wednesday. So here is Von Miller himself talking on Twitter from his hospital bed.
Bills Mafia, what's good? I'm good, man. I'll be right back, man. Mentally, I couldn't be in a better spot, man. And I think that is the majority of it, man. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't say I hate it for you. None of that stuff. Because I am good. You know, I'm excited for the opportunity to show my teammates how tough I am, you know, how hard I work, and, you know, how important that this means to me, man. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys, man. All love and respect. Don't blink, baby.
Can they make the Super Bowl without Von Miller? Greg Rousseau has been stepping up and playing pretty well, and certainly has learned a lot by Von Miller, but I don't think there were any sacks without Von on the field against New England.
They didn't look as good, that's for sure.
Right, defensively. I mean, can
Correct.
they make the Super Bowl run? That's the question. I mean, I always think this, Foodie, when it came to, I loved football for the discipline of the game and the fact that no matter how unsexy your job was, you're not the ball carrier, you're not the receiver, you're not the quarterback, but it was important for the entire play to work. And I thought in basketball, I could change out one guy and I could change the fortunes of a team. I never thought that with football. I never did. And it seems like more and more I'm being disproven, because I feel as though that one guy could change the fortunes of a team.
Well, sure. You know, the offense can scheme differently without him on the field.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to double somebody.
Right.
They can just straight up block.
Yeah. It's amazing that one guy, and more probably defensively, I don't know. I mean, I would even say that, you know, Diggs is one of the best receivers in the league with Buffalo. You need a quarterback to get him, but he gets open and Josh gets him the ball, it's almost impossible to cover him.
Those two together are dynamite.
You've seen unbelievable catches.
Unbelievable.
You've seen on things, but I mean, you've seen unbelievable catches from that guy.
Yeah.
He's good.
He's great. I just don't know what this means. And there are many people that think that's it.
Here you go. Add OBJ.
Could cost this. Well.
And then the offense takes.
Does that make that much more attractive? And how much money is there? I mean, God. We talked about this the other day about what's the tipping point with the NFL, because one of the Bills games got moved to Saturday night, the one against Miami, and it's going to be on the NFL Network, and only 57.5 million households in the United States have NFL Network. So I go, it almost as though if you're a Bills fan, you're getting screwed and getting priced out.
Yes.
They're still one of the cheaper tickets, but their cheapest ticket's $63. Try taking an entire family and,
Yeah, I heard that. I just think, you add another weapon. Like, I'm talking as a Cowboys fan, so everybody can hate me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Get him on Buffalo.
Well, I mean, seriously, though, if you're a Buffalo, Bills fan and you can't watch this game, you're heading out to the bar.
Well, you are heading out to a bar. And I said that's great for the local economy.
Right.
And we have a lot of where we are, and Fairport, New York is becoming sort of a destination in Monroe County where we live for the entertainment that's around. There's some great, you've got everything from the Irish bars like Mulconnery's to a great almost concert venue in Tommy Burnett.
And the Tin Cup Social. Have you been there?
Have not.
That whole area now, that
massive.
whole avenue of, restaurants and bars and stuff that's down there.
It's pretty good.
Starting at Village Inn. It's great.
NFL, looking at the MVP, Josh Allen.
All day long.
You think so?
Absolutely.
He and Tua are still at plus 1,200 to win the MVP. Number
There's
one.
Mahomes.
Yeah, 120. Followed by Jalen Hurts, which I don't get.
Oh, he's having a great year.
Yeah, 150. And Burrow at 800, plus 800. Hurts is having a good year. I just don't know how long it's going to. I'm waiting for that bubble to burst. I just keep
When's
thinking
it gonna burst?
I just think it's going to. I do at some point. I know. We're
Christmas
getting deep
Eve.
in the season, but I just go, why do I feel like it's all going to fall apart?
Christmas Eve.
Holmes is a dirty word for me. I don't like his name.
He's impressed. He's fun. Look, I agree with you.
But I don't want to hear it. Whatever.
See, this is where, now you go back to that 13 seconds, and here we are. Micah Hyde's out. Von Miller's out. You just wish you could get back to that 13 seconds, because that could be your Super Bowl right there. That could be it.
If you beat Joe Burrow.
And you change the rules.
Well, I think you could beat Joe Burrow. I think they would have won. I think they would have beat Cincinnati.
For some
that game
reason,
would have been in Buffalo. I don't know why. I just feel like that it just would have gone their way.
Cincinnati has Kansas City's number for some reason.
Yeah.
They beat them this week.
They didn't look great in the beginning of the season. Now all of a sudden it's coming on. Aaron Judge, you Yankee fan? You're a Boston fan. You're a Yankee fan.
Yes, he's back, baby.
I know, and I'm not sure what to think of that either. It's almost like, he had them sort of bent over a barrel.
He did.
He did what you're supposed to do. Bet on himself. Turned down $213.5 million in the spring. Had the greatest poker face. Never talked to them. Just said no. Did not negotiate with them. And then just signed a 9-year, $360 million deal. And to me, I go, the Yankees, who historically nobody's matched them. 27 World Series championships over the years. They haven't been to the World Series since, 2009? Postseason, he hasn't been great.
That sounds right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. He'll be 31 next August. And you're backing up the Brinks truck. And I think San Francisco was a pretty close deal to this as well.
Yeah, I think they offered the same. San Diego offered $380, and he turned it down.
Same thing. 9 years.
Yeah.
What would be the difference then? Because he kept talking about wanting to go home.
Taxes.
Taxes.
Well, taxes for California versus New York. I don't know what the.
You're probably making an extra 20.
You might be. Honestly, I don't know. California. You think of all the businesses
Cost
that
of
have
living.
left.
You can't go to a San Francisco game because it costs too much.
San Francisco, $222 for the cheapest ticket. What are you talking about? But this is kind of cool. Drafted by the Yankees, stays as a Yankee. I think the Yankees were scared. Considered a great clubhouse guy.
How do you let him go?
Well, he always wanted to be a Yankee, I think, too. So he kind of just.
But is he too old for this kind of contract? He is injury prone. He got through this season, but can he stay healthy? I don't know.
He had a hell of a season. A hell of a season.
Well, he was the only thing.
Come on now.
July for them sucked. August wasn't great. And then he kind of went into a little bit of a slump himself. But in 6 months, the Yankees increased their offer by 70%. If you're in a negotiation of any kind in your life, just don't talk. It's the greatest thing. He simply said no,
Stood his
kept
ground.
playing, bet on himself, did not negotiate, didn't do anything, and their deal went up 70%.
It's craziness.
Yeah, and then he is also Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. Well, I mean, it only makes sense, right? Breaking the home run record. The legit home run record, can we say? Like all the other, because all the other guys who broke it supposedly allegedly were using steroids. I think McGuire even came out. I think McGuire went and apologized to the Maris family.
I think he did too.
Yeah,
because,
I think he did years ago. Like he called up and had an apology to the
I remember
Maris family.
something vague like that.
Right.
Yeah, because you could see when he was like one year to the next year, he went from like looking like a 13-year-old to looking like he had been, in a bodybuilding contest.
I remember being at the.
It was insane. Everybody's like, "What the hell?" His forearms were the size of a telephone pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being at the Montreal Comedy Fest, and I forget who it was. Adam Ferrara. He did a joke where he's like, yeah, I mean, look at these guys. They're not using steroids. Not at all. Barry Bonds? No.
Nah.
Big muscles, dorsal fin growing out of his back. It's like, this is the stuff. But, well, good for Aaron Judge, Aaron Judge. We'll take a break. We'll do a one-on-one with Todd Baxter and Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes is the chief of police with Fairport, and Todd Baxter is the sheriff. A lot of thoughts on kind of what's happening in cities versus suburbs and kind of how the suburbs can help support the city. I've always been a believer as to whatever city you're around, as the city goes, so go the suburbs. We certainly have a problem in our area, and it's not uncommon around the country to have this kind of problem. We'll hear their thoughts on all that next. Our one-on-one, I guess I should actually call it a two-on-one, is brought to you by the Adirondack Company. They'll keep you stocked with firewood, perfect for these holiday nights. Give them a call at 585-254-0522 for the best seasoned firewood. You can also see them online at 80kmulchandstone.com. Welcome in Sheriff Todd Baxter, the sheriff of Monroe County, where we are, and the chief of police from Fairport, Matt Barnes. Now, I know Sheriff Baxter's background. Sheriff Baxter clearly loves a challenge because he stepped in and became the police chief of Greece at a really tough time, and then went down to Ogden, which is probably a little more like Mayberry, but then decided, well, that was a little not challenging enough, so now he's the sheriff of Monroe County. But what led you to law enforcement? I don't know Matt Barnes, who's the police chief of Fairport, to kind of the path.
So I kind of always wanted to be like Todd Baxter. So
is that what it was?
Footsteps.
Were you a sheriff in the sheriff's
not.
department? No.
No, I started for the Rochester Police Department.
Okay.
Went out to the Fairport Police Department, and then through deductive logic became chief there earlier this year when Sam Farina left. Sam Farina left at the end of February, and I interviewed for the job and ended up getting it. So
how many years with RPD?
2 years with RPD altogether. I guess I'm in my 24th or 25th. I came on in 98.
Okay.
So whatever the math is
yeah,
there.
Right.
And
so, you look at things in the city, and I know certainly with Monroe County, I've always had this belief that as the city goes, so go the suburbs. And yet we have, Mayor Evans standing up and saying these kinds of things aren't happening in Pittsford, which I know the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, having lived over there, that's you serve that community, all communities, but you serve that community. Obviously, Fairport, you would back up the Fairport police. But when it comes to the city, what are the suburbs doing to sort of help and back things up? This is tragic.
There are specific things to specific people that are occurring, right? Like the violence occurring in the city. We know the 400 or 500 people that are causing this havoc, but the statement is true. As the city goes, the county of Monroe goes. What happens as far as crime or robbery patterns or even the vehicle and traffic laws, right now a big complaint is just the way people are driving, right? And there's just a lack of enforcement in general because of some of the reforms, and it's not really fruitful sometimes to do traffic stops and write tickets.